Okay, let's pick up where we left off with our multiplication division equations using fractions, and now we're going to try writing our own equations that include fractions so that we can solve for a variable. So let's go ahead and read example 3, baking for a bunch. This one is a true story. It says you received a recipe from a friend to bake a yummy pumpkin cake. However, the recipe she had was only for a partial recipe. It was 2/3 of the original one, because she only bakes it for a couple of people at a time. But in my situation, I wanted to bake it for my whole family, so I wanted the full recipe. I wanted to figure out how to make that recipe much bigger. Her version called for 2 1/4 cups of flour. How much flour would that original recipe have used? So I needed to figure out how to make that original out of that part. So we're going to write an equation with a variable, and it says, hint, you can use C for the original cups of flour that we want to find. All right, so we've got to figure out where to start. Can we describe this situation as a verbal model? Try and figure out what pieces we have. We've got 2/3 of an original recipe, right? We've got 2/3 of that recipe, and we know that 2/3 of the original recipe equaled 2 1/4, right? So the big clue for us here is going to be this word of. When we say 2/3 of the original recipe, what does of mean for math? Times. Of means multiplication. So if I just say that out loud, 2/3 of the original recipe, how could I write that? 2/3, what's of? Times. And what was the original recipe? How much flour should I have used? I don't know. That's my C. So 2/3 of that original ended up being what? 2 1/4, so equals 2 1/4. Do you see how we came up with an equation just by knowing that of meant multiplication? So there's our equation. Can we solve something like that? Sure, we've been doing that. I'll write it down here again. 2/3 times C. Do I really need the times? Could I just put C? Yeah, equals 2 1/4. So if I am going to solve this, that means I need to get rid of what? 2/3 times. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2/3. 2/3 divided by 2/3. Bye-bye. Leaves me with 1C. This one, 2 1/4 divided by 2/3. Okay, I know to divide. I'm going to have to flip the second guy and multiply. I also know I'm going to have to change this mixed number into an improper fraction. Could I do that right away? What's 2 times 4 is? 8 plus 1 is 9. 9/4. So all I did there was change 2 1/4 into 9/4. And then instead of dividing by 2/3, I'm going to flip the second guy, 3/2, and multiply. And now I can just do top times top and bottom times bottom. 9 times 3 is 27. 4 times 2 is 8. Move that up. I need to simplify this a little bit. I need to put that back into a mixed number. How many times does 8 go into 27? C equals, let's see, it goes in 3 times. That would get us up to 24 with 3/8 remaining. So my C is equal to 3 3/8. This is a story problem. 3 3/8 what? Cups. Or cups of flour, if we want to be pretty specific. That's how much flour was in the original recipe, and that's what I would use if I was making the whole thing. Now, in reality, if I was making the whole thing, I would have to do this process for every ingredient that I would need. Essentially, I'm taking the amount that I know, and I'm multiplying it by 3/2, and that's going to give me all my new measurements. Okay? Would we be able to go back and check this? Plug it in, make sure it's right? Yes. And I would expect you to be able to do that. For now, let's go on and see if you can practice writing one more type of equation here. All right, I'm going to move this up. This one says you're eating some Girl Scout cookies at a friend's house. You're starving, and you eat 3/5 of that whole bag, which ends up being 9 cookies. Yummy, 9 cookies. How many cookies were in the bag to begin with? So your job right now, I'm going to give you a minute, is to see what you can come up with for an equation. Remember our key word right here. Okay, I'm going to wait. I'm going to give you a minute. We'll pause it and see what you come up with. All right. We're going to start by saying this out loud. 3/5 of the bag. 3/5 of, what's of? Times. And the bag, that means like how many cookies were in the original bag, right? Do we know how many were in there? No, we don't know. So what do you want to use? C again for cookies? I guess we probably should say the box of Girl Scout cookies, right? Most of them come in boxes. So 3/5 of that box of cookies, C. How much was 3/5 of the box? That equaled what? The 9 that you ate. Is that what you got for an equation? All right, now let's solve for C. Let's see how many cookies were in the original box. Divide both sides by 3/5. That gets rid of 3/5 times, right? Divide by 3/5. And I'm going to bring down what I have left. C equals. Now 9, instead of writing divided by 3/5, I'm going to flip the second guy, 5/3, and multiply. And to multiply here, I need to make this a fraction. So I can make it 9 over 1. And let's see what we get. I'll put it over here. 9 times 5 is 45. 1 times 3 is 3. Can I simplify 45 over 3? Can't I do 45 divided by 3? 45 divided by 3 is 15. So C equals 15 cookies. There were originally 15 cookies in that bag. Would we be able to go plug that in and check it? Yes. All right, so there's a little bit of practice writing your own equations. What was our big key word for this? Of means multiply. You got it.